Before starting, please like this video, follow our channel and click on the YouTube notification bell so you can follow our next videos. This game was responsible for a huge migraine I had at the time, this in the late 90s, if I'm not mistaken. I remember the pain, very well, because perhaps the graphic style adopted here was the trigger for my crisis. At least, Pandemonium turned out to be much more than a migraine trigger, as I intend to explain below. The name already gives the indication. Pandemonium is a kind of mess on the screen, but it is a mess, let's say, organized. In the skin of Nikki, a dancer who dreams of learning how to perform spells, are Fargus, a court jester along with his talking staff Sid. We have to go through 18 levels full of secrets and dangers in every corner. The story is simple. Nikki, tired of her circus life, decides to leave and ends up in Lancelot's castle. At the same time, Fargus and his inseparable Sid end up going there, perhaps with the hope of earning some change by animating parties. The two end up finding a magical book and, because of Nikki's dream, they accidentally awaken a monster, which ends up swallowing the entire village. That's the premise of Pandemonium, a game from Toys for Bob, today a subsidiary of Activision and responsible for games like Skylanders, that could very well be remade to current standards, more on that later. Both characters can be chosen by the player during stage selection. Nikki has the big advantage of being able to do 2 jumps in a row, while Fargus has the power to roll on the ground, which even serves to hit enemies. This feature alone makes all the difference in gameplay. It's much easier to play with Nikki than with Fargus due to his double jump. Pandemonium's levels are a mixture of 2D and 3D. Mechanics and controls work in 2D, while the camera looks for different angles during gameplay, offering a different and eye-catching look. Or else it causes migraines, as I described at the beginning. Headaches aside, this mix of styles gives the game a whole identity, which ended up leaving it with a unique look. Despite a cartoonish look, reminiscent of a cartoon, don't expect the slightest ease here. The game already starts with only 2 life points and it takes a long time for you to find the third one. If you touch an enemy or a thorn, there goes a heart. 2 leaning against each other, goodbye life. 3 lives lost, 1 game over without crying. It's not because of its lively look that Pandemonium takes it easy on anyone who dares to play it. The game has a lot of secrets hidden in the levels and, precisely because of that, it allows the player to explore it again whenever they want, in search of 100% or at least close to it. If you reach at least 95%, you are entitled to a bonus phase where you can get everything from coins to lives. If you collect 300 coins, you'll gain a life, but don't think it's easy to collect that amount. In some phases you can transform into some animals, turtle, frog, etc., which guarantee some extra advantage, but which don't last forever, only in a certain part of the phase. This gives some variety to the bounce house, but even in those parts the difficulty doesn't decrease. The songs follow the cartoon pattern of the game, that is, they are very animated. Enemies have their own sounds and even Nikki or Fargus mutter things during gameplay. But don't expect anything sticky or anything that makes Pandemonium reminiscent of its host. 2 complaints. The controls are a little too slick, it's easy to miss the point and fall into holes or get hit by enemies that walk everywhere. Playing with Fargus requires a monstrous skill to reach certain locations or even finish some stages. And although the game delivers powers like freezing, they say goodbye to the slightest contact with enemies, that is, take care not to get hit. In my opinion, Pandemonium could very well be remade and re-released for current consoles. It has a good storyline, simple but objective, it has a different gameplay, different mechanics, 2 controllable characters, good music, etc. I just keep imagining a well-made remake, with current graphics, but keeping that camera thing and improving the control. The game has the depth to spawn more sequels than just a second game, as it turned out. Despite the main character, Fargus, being almost useless in the game, it's nothing that Crystal Dynamics, who ported the game to PC at the time and published it on most platforms, couldn't fix in a remake or sequel. Finally, Pandemonium is a long game. There are 18 stages distributed in different themes, but the phases are often long, having 2, 3 or even 4 parts. Add to that unique mechanics like the wind in the icy caves that push you everywhere or even the racing bonuses on grids or pinballs, and the game easily achieves a high percentage of playing time. Summary. Positives of the game. The game has a different and cool look. The game mechanics were innovative for the time. Bad points of the game. The controls are a bit lacking. Fargus could be better used in the game. Final grade, 7.5. Analysis written by Cosmo and published on the Revolution Arena website.